alternative investing.
You know, your podcast is hard money.
Alternative investments. Hard money. It's going to be amazing because our inner circle.
You're listening to Hard Money, the alternative investment podcast.
Hand in hand in partnership with our inner circle members. We have an incredible team here at RAD Diversified, and we're very happy to share with you about the inner circle, why people invest a significant amount of money with us in order to do deals, in order to make money. And so, I'm excited to share. I'm also really, what's most interesting to me is to be able to answer your questions, right? I can sit here and do a presentation. I can sit here and do a talk and go through the important things that help people build wealth and help people make a difference in their life. But reality is your questions is what's most going to be important to you. How do you make effective decisions? How do you make life decisions? How do you make business decisions, right? And so I am excited to share with you. John Irving, hello. You got to smile, John. If you're not smiling, you're going to get in trouble. Are you the same John Irving that's been investing with us for 6 or 7 years, 8 years now? Give a wave if you are. If you're a completely different John Irving, then that's okay too. We have different people with the same names. We actually have 2 Ron Johnsons in the inner circle, which I find is pretty fascinating. Kaiji Zhang, I can see your nose, so that's an interesting video picture of you on the camera. James Wang. All right, let's go ahead and get rock and rolling and get started. I'm going to run through, kind of the basics of what the inner circle is and how the inner circle succeeds and how it makes people money and how it makes us money and what the incentive is. And then I'm going to dive into the questions. So I'm going to go ahead and start from the beginning of the slideshow and share my screen with everybody. It doesn't give me permission to share my screen, so give me just a second. Click in slideshow and then go back to the Zoom settings, and everybody can see my screen just fine. Perfect. So, who's the inner circle not for? Let's just dive right in. It's not for the investor who, wants to get quick rich scheme, right? It's not for someone who wants to be taught and do all the real estate and all of the work themselves, right? It's not for people that have a negative mindset or people that don't have an understanding of what reality is. And so tonight we're going to talk about reality of real estate, the kind of money you can make from deals. We're going to talk about, how deals happen and how deals work and kind of step-by-step processes on real estate, right? If you said to me, Dutch, I'm going to join the inner circle and give you $30,000 and give you $100,000 and you can make me a millionaire before the end of the year, the inner circle is probably not for you, right? And so, who the inner circle is, it's for somebody who wants to invest, who wants to make higher returns than they would make on their own. It's somebody who wants to be fairly passive in their overall investing scheme, somebody who wants to get access to deals that they couldn't get access to any other way. They want to get access to financing they couldn't get access to any other way. They wanted us to help them with the rehabs. They wanted us to control the process, and somebody who wants an organization that has skin in the game, just like they do. Every single deal we invest into, we joint venture, we invest directly hand in hand with our inner circle members. When they put money into deals, we put money into deals. How it all began is we were an education company that did the training and teaching of real estate, and we're still an education company that does training and teaching of real estate. But I got frustrated. I got fed up with the 1 to 5% success ratio that I would see in the education industry. And I said, what if? Along with one of our inner circle members, Alan Penn, I said, what would it look like if we could guarantee success to every single person that joins mentorship, that joins education, that wants to have success? I said, what would 100% success rate look like? How could we guarantee that? How could we take that to a place where no one else could? And so I spent a long time in my life, right, doing education and training and building education, coaching, mentoring programs where people could invest $30, $50, $100,000 to join those mentoring programs and have all the tools and have all of the ways to go out and do real estate on their own and be 100% active. And over the years, even that success rate would never achieve more than 10%. And even when investors had all the tools and all the ways to do it, there's a couple things that would happen to them. They would run out of time. They just wouldn't have enough time to go out and do deals, and they would go back to their default life, right? They would go back to the same spouses, the same kids. They would go back to the same JOBs. They would go back to the same limiting factors that they had before that didn't allow them to do deals. And then as well, they would get frustrated. if you're an Inner Circle member and you do 10 deals with us, one of them's probably going to suck. One of them's going to be a home run and going to be incredible, and 8 of them are going to land somewhere in the middle, right? That's reality of real estate, that there is the suck in real estate, right? And so what we decided to do is if there's the one that sucks, we simply buy our Inner Circle member out of that deal and we move them into another deal. Because what happens to the everyday investor, if they go out and invest into a real estate deal and they get stuck for a year, for 2 years, if they get a bad renter, like has happened to so many investors in the middle of a pandemic, right? And they don't know how to deal with it and they don't know how to handle it. Now they're not getting cash flow and now they're in this struggle. And so to me, I said, how do we build a program that is unbeatable? And so we started taking our Inner Circle and sharing it with people and investing hand in hand with them. And over the years, we've made millionaires. Over the years, we've had tons of Inner Circle members make money and do deals. And we got to a point in time and said, hey, who we are as a company that can guarantee a 100% success rate for anyone who joins our Inner Circle. Anybody who invests money with us and invests into a deal will make money in deals. Now, would I say that every single deal that's ever done is perfect? No. Real estate is a hard business. It's a business that consultants, contractors can walk away with your money, that permits can cause your property to get caught up. We once had an Inner Circle member. He's actually on that picture there in front of you, which is funny. That's actually by accident. Dexter, who had a property stolen from him. Somebody forged a deed and stole the property from him. Now, we bought Dexter out of that deal. 18 months later, we were able to get that deal back for us and were able to turn it and make really good money from it. And usually for us, things that go wrong in deals just take time. It's not usually going to not make us money. And so with our Inner Circle member, what we realized over the years is that what we wanted and what we do for Inner Circle members is guarantee success, guarantee the ability to make money, guarantee the ability to go and do deals. So who we are, they just muted me. I don't see a way to unmute myself. So hopefully I wasn't on mute too long, right? So one of our staffs, thank you. I can see Stan, but I'm not sure what Stan's wife's name is, but I think she was the one that told me I was muted. I was muted, so I appreciate it. And so as we built our Inner Circle, we started to have more and more success for our Inner Circle members. And what we came to realize is that there was even more than just doing real estate deals. We began to expand beyond doing real estate deals. We began to grow how we did it. And so then we had Inner Circle members who bought in to being an owner in our REIT with us. And so RAD Diversified also has a REIT, and there's a marriage between our Inner Circle and the REIT. And it's an amazing marriage. And as Inner Circle members became 1%ers and became owners for us, with us, there became this unique dynamic as we began to grow the business more and more. And so our REIT, closes in on a $30 million portfolio. Our Inner Circle member just closed in on a $70 million portfolio. But this marriage took us from a place where we were running a multi-million-dollar company to running a $100 million company. And so people always ask us, well, if you guys are so great at real estate, why do you do this? Why do you invest with us? Why do you do it hand in hand? And I think the amazing answer to that is this is how it happened. It occurred because we went from a company where I invested on my own and I gave education to a company that began investing hand in hand with people that we had found common ground with, people that we began to become close to, people that we began to be connected with. And as we invested more and more and we began to do more in deals hand in hand, it just continued to grow. And so as we became more successful, what I said to myself is don't change something, don't break something that works. Don't go against what is successful. Don't suddenly become greedy, right, in a place where greed is unneeded. I said, continue to invest with Inner Circle members, continue to grow with Inner Circle members. And then the acceleration that happened with that is just simply amazing. And so we built an Inner Circle where people literally have absolutely no excuses in order to succeed. And so for me, I wanted this to be crystal clear. That when you join the Inner Circle, that people who join us and come on as a part of this tribe, is we will make sure you succeed or we'll give you your money back. People either succeed and they do deals in the Inner Circle or we would kick you out. Now, I would say this in the nicest, most polite of ways, right? Being kicked out isn't such a bad thing. It just means that the Inner Circle wasn't a fit for you. Now, over all the years of the Inner Circle, we've only had to do that twice. We have 200, closing on 220 Inner Circle members that do deals with us, that are doing real estate transactions with us, that are making money with us. Now, I'm not going to sit here and give you 75 testimonials while we're on this call tonight, because you guys can go to our website, right? You can go to the Inner Circle part of it, and you can see 100 recorded testimonials from Inner Circle members. Think about that for just a second. I can sit here in a presentation and give you one or two and say, hey, we're great, and go look at this. No, just hear from the people that have done the deals, people that have made the money with us, right? Go and listen to some of the podcasts from some of the Inner Circle members so you can get a deep dive, because I believe people should do their due diligence. I believe people should be able to make their own choices and their own decisions on being successful. So first thing we did is we started doing deals together and making money. Then people started to become owners with us and REIT with us. And then we opened up the American Survivalist project, where Inner Circle members became on board with us. And we've opened up other investment deals over the years for Inner Circle members who join into and have made money. To be crystal clear on tonight's call, not a single Inner Circle member on 7 years has ever lost money on a deal with us. And so I say that with 100% knowing that we're an SEC qualified REIT, right? And I can't say something that doesn't hold truth. I can't say something that isn't 100% clean. And the reason I can't do that is because the SEC was built to protect you guys, right? And they're not saying you should invest with us or not invest with us. They don't do that. But what I do know is that everything that I say, everything that we do is scrutinized, right? We have third-party auditors. We have in-house accounting, and then we have to submit that accounting to the SEC as a company. And so as we do deals, just kind of understand that we're not the next door neighbor, right? We're not the mom and pop shop of education companies, of real estate investment companies, right? We've kind of gotten past that. We've gone from 35 to 70 employees and grown faster and faster, because I want to make sure that we're able to do deals. And so 3 months ago was the last time we opened up our Inner Circle. And 3 months ago, we had 20 new members join their Inner Circle. If I didn't feel that all 20 of those members were able to do deals and able to make money, right, I wouldn't have opened the Inner Circle back up, because we're constantly monitoring our deal flow. Tonight, as I share this with you, right, we have 11 new members who've joined the Inner Circle this week, and we have 9 spots still available for that. And so I share that with you so you guys can kind of understand how we do this and how the cycle works. Let me dive into some more of these questions and some of the other parts, right? We've talked about the real estate done for you. Well, what does real estate done for you really mean? That means that we're out there sourcing deals, finding deals. We have acquisitions teams in Houston, Tampa, Philadelphia, Idaho, and California, right? And Florida. And so these are the cities around America that we have active teams that are doing deals, doing real estate. And so they're out there sourcing deals. What does sourcing deals means? It means we have a $150,000 acquisition budget for marketing to bring in deal flow. Think about that for just a minute. That's how much money we're spending every single month to bring in deal flow for our Inner Circle. And so we have these different team members that train in Philadelphia under my brother, Dutch Mendenhall, who's an incredible leader of our real estate side of our business, and really make sure that those people are trained in finding incredible and good deals. And so as we find these good deals, what happens then is obviously our teams are out there making offers. Well, then we have an in-house financing team. And so that in-house financing team is our staff here led by Caroline Gutierrez. And so Caroline, what she does is she makes sure that we get the best loan rates, the best system, right, for making sure we have the right percentages. Now, as Inner Circle members, I don't ask you guys to put up your credit. I don't ask you guys to put up your liability when it comes to the loans on these deals and transactions. We handle all of that ourselves. And so we take all of the loan liability and all of that responsibility on ourselves as a company. And so that's pretty cool and pretty amazing, right? That you don't have to go out and find financing to go out and do real estate. We handle that ourselves. But then we take it a step further is we go ahead and we do what's called SOWs on every single property, that scope of work. Our lenders actually give us all of the rehab money to do 100% of the rehab on our properties. And so you never pay any rehab money to go out and do your real estate deals and real estate transactions. And so that eliminates kind of the big roadblock to getting into lots of deals, right? It used to be when we first started the Inner Circle that we would go buy a property at auction for, let's say, for $100,000 cash, and it would need $100,000 in rehab, and we'd pay $100,000 for that rehab, and now we'd be in for $200,000 on a deal that would be worth $250,000. Today's Inner Circle is very different. If we have a $100,000 deal, we only have to put 20% down on a property like that. So we put 20 grand down. Then our lenders also loan us the $100,000 for the rehab. Think about that for just a second. And so now we're in $180,000 on a deal we only put $20,000 down in for that specific deal. And now if it's worth $250,000, we've put in $20,000 to make $50,000. Now let me caveat that with, I know some of you who've done real estate I already know what you're thinking, right? Yes, there's closing costs. Yes, there's lending fees. Yes, there's those other types of different things that are a part of doing transactional real estate that come up. Could be a real estate agent. Sometimes we buy with real estate agents. Sometimes we sell with real estate agents. But there's different fees that chew up those profits. And so out of that 50, maybe we see 35 of it. But how many of you on here right now, right? Just nod your head yes when I say this, would invest $20,000 to make $35,000 on a real estate deal, right? Every single one of you would do that. Now, we have a lot of deals that are a little bit bigger in scope, right? So we're doing a lot of $500,000, right, to $1 million deals right now. And so the range is, shifted or changed over the years. And so with that said, we might buy a house for $500,000. It might need a $200,000 rehab. So we might be in for $700,000. If we did 20% down on that, we'd be in $140,000. On that particular deal, our inner circle member would put in $70,000. We would put in $70,000 to do that exact deal, right? And say maybe it's worth $850,000. Those are pretty common margins. To see a 10, 20% margin is really common with our deals and how we do transactions. We don't buy anything unless we know there's at least a 15% margin in that particular real estate transaction. And so that kind of gives you guys an idea of the ranges we play in. We have deals that every single month that our inner circle members can invest in for as little to as $15,000 to $20,000. But we also have $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 with deals that are a larger scale and a larger at play. A great example is we're currently made an offer on a farm in Georgia. And so the farm in Georgia, we offered $2.9 million. We're going to have to put about $600,000 down on that particular property. And that's something an inner circle member could come in and joint venture with us on. Sometimes we offer out hard money loans for inner circle members to make a guaranteed high rate of return on that. And so this is just some of the different ways deals are done. And so once the financing is complete, then we go into the rehab phase. So during the rehab phase, our contractors work the deal from start to finish. They pull the permits, the architects, all of the things that have to be done on the rehabs, our team handles. In Philadelphia, in Tampa, we have our in-house contractors, our in-house rehabbers, our in-house teams. In Houston, California, and Idaho, we use out-of-house contractors and rehab teams. As we grow more and more in each market, we tend to start to in-house our teams more and more. And so with those teams that manage those rehabs, they handle them from start to finish. We keep everything in a chat so that our inner circle members know exactly what's going on with the deal. And so with that deal, you'll be getting pictures on a weekly, monthly basis. When we're in the middle of the rehab, you can be getting pictures on a daily basis of what's going on with the property. As we spend money for different materials, or we spend money for different aspects of the rehab, you'll be updated on that as well. And so this is a great way for you to be able to keep updated on your projects. Now, our inner circle members, we use a system called Appfolio. So if you want to look that up at all, but it's one of the best property management softwares that exists on the marketplace. And so that you'll be able to log into that with your own username and password and see updates on your deals, see exactly how it's going through the progress. And then when you have questions, we have an inner circle coordinator. What she does is she's assigned to you as your coordinator, and so she'll give you updates on the deals. If you got questions about them, you'll be able to call and ask those questions about the deals and be able to get all those aspects. So as we go through the rehab process, our goal is always to beat the SOW. If we can beat the SOW even by a little bit, let's say it's $150,000 rehab and we can beat it by 5%, and we can make $7,500, or we can make 10 grand on that. If that happens, then we're able to update you and we're able to let you know that we beat the rehab number. We try to be really conservative when we do those scopes of work. That way we can always overachieve, right? We always find that if we say $150,000 rehab and we can come under on it, you guys are going to be real happy. If we say $150,000 rehab and it comes back as $180,000, you guys aren't going to be very happy, right? And so we've always covered the cost of those extra rehab from a standpoint where, we'll handle the extra 20 or the extra $30,000 if that were to happen in that scenario. And then when we go to sell the property, of course, we settle up the finances evenly at the end of the transaction, right? It's fairly common that there's about a 10% variance, either under or over when it comes to rehabbing. And so, we believe in that transparency concept, right? Try to make sure you guys understand everything that happens. And now the property is in ready to go position, right? And so if we're going to rent the property, then we handle the property management for the rental of the property. We rent it, we manage the tenants, and that whole process. And of course, we split the rents after. Obviously, we pay the mortgage on the property. Typically, we would refinance it at that point. And so lots of times when we refinance a property, we're able to pull extra money out of the property now that it has its new value. And then as the rents come in every single month, we split what's left over after the mortgage, right? Now, if you're wanting to build cash flow, right, and rental income, using maximum leverage wouldn't usually not be the way to do that. And so we have a different plan for our Inner Circle members and investors who are really focused on cash flow. And so we kind of, when you become a new Inner Circle member, we want to know what your plan is, right? What is your dream? What is your goal? Is it to, flip a couple properties a year? Is it to flip 10 properties a year? Is it to build your own real estate empire? Is it to add a couple rentals at a time? Is it to get into really good deals? Are you not really sure? All of those things are pretty common. And so, if it's a rental, then we handle the rental and manage it from start to finish. If it's a property that we sell and we take it to market and sell the property, obviously, lots of times we'll list that with a realtor, or we'll do a for sale by owner type of situation, and we'll go ahead and list the property to sale, and we'll handle that properly too. So we handle all the marketing, the advertising for selling the properties too in those situations. And so at the end of the day, the property sells, and there's money that's made. We have accountants that are in-house here, and so they'll provide you with complete financial accounting on the property from start to finish, and you'll have a full understanding of what you made, what you didn't make, what we made, what we didn't make on the property, right, and have a full understanding of the full gap. The reality is, it all comes down to like what's our return on investment. How much money are we making on an individual deal basis, and how quickly can we cycle the money back out there, right? And so we believe in getting our money cycled to go from one deal to the next deal to the next deal, and that's the whole goal of being an Inner Circle member, right? It's how do we keep our money continuously moving, and how do we make sure our money is never stuck? And so, like I said before, we're at a place where we've set up a system where we think people have, no excuses but to succeed and make money. And, for our Inner Circle members, typically what we find is they get into a certain number of deals and then they're a little bit bored in the sense that like they have 2 or 3 or 4 deals working at a time. We have Inner Circles with members with as many as 15 deals working right now, which is pretty cool. And so, their money is working and they're kind of like, what next? Well, we give you lots of other ways to generate, income, other ways for those who want to be more active, right, within the tribe, within the family, right? Some people never want to be active like that, and that's perfectly okay. And some people want to be more active, right? Our Houston market is run by Pam and Ray, who are Inner Circle members. Our director of international investment for our REIT is Alan Pan, who's an Inner Circle member. And so people have gotten involved in many different ways over the years. And there's Inner Circle members I talk to about 3 or 4 times a year as they transition their money into new deals and new investments. And that's the extent of that relationship. So with every Inner Circle member, it's a little bit different and it's pretty custom. So let me go ahead and just talk a little bit about kind of where we've come to, right? In 2015, we had about $5 million total invested, with our Inner Circle members, with our tribe, with our REIT. And then from 2016, we kind of grew at about that pace, right? A little over 5 million, a little over 5 million, and we got to about 20 million total capital, right? Today in 2021, the chart here actually says 67 million, but we've gotten to a point where our total portfolio is just over $100 million. I'm happy to actually send this PowerPoint out to you guys too, so you can have access to it. And we'll send you out the recording as well. But as we grow, and like even we surpassed, we did this PowerPoint 3 months ago, and as I look at it, it's even updated since then with how fast we've been growing. Right, we're not 50 plus any employees anymore. We're 70 plus employees as a company. It's pretty amazing to see the growth that we've been able to do. And as we just do more deals, it's kind of like it all compounds. I look at the world and people are like amazed at how quickly technology has sped up our world in crazy and different ways. And I call it, the compounding effect, right? And we all know that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world, but life is a compounding effect, right? The ability of recorded history, and then the ability to stack information on top of recorded history is kind of part of the reason of acceleration of technology. And as you get more and more, everything starts to accelerate. And it's the same thing with business, I've realized over the years. We started with this bell curve that was here, and we steadily grew with our members and steadily grew with our inner circle member. But now, imagine with 200 million members, I never thought we'd be at a $100 million portfolio today, right? And next year, I'd like to see us at a $200 million portfolio. That's how fast I'd like to see us grow in the next 12 months. And so it's kind of like, what part of that $200 million portfolio is yours? We're a machine that exists and runs and continues to run. And so I think it's great. I love where we're at as a business, right? I mean, ways you make money. From our due diligence team, it's very important to understand, like, the difference between knowing what a good deal is and a bad deal is very important. And a 5% or a 10% difference in profit margin on a $300,000 or $400,000 deal when you're using 80% leverage is the difference between a 30% return on a deal or a 60 or 70 or 80% return on an individual deal. And so due diligence is really huge. It's an important part of the practice. I remember when we used to run our live experiences, our revolution trips, which our inner circle members go on to this day, we would see people bid at auctions on something they thought was a house that was just a slab of concrete. Now that's an incredibly like extreme, when it comes to due diligence, but knowing the difference between a property that needs fully, full gut job rehab and a property that just needs, paint and carpet are two completely different things. And those two houses can look very, very similar. And that's why the due diligence is so very important, right? I'll give you an example. We're recently looking at real estate margins in the Tampa market area. And there was $1 million house that was in pretty good condition, pretty good shape. It's like somebody could live in it today and you could rent it out as is, and it would be fine. But in order to rehab that property, like fully rehab that property, because it was 30 years old, the electric, the plumbing, even though it had been very well taken care of, right? We're going to have to be replaced. We're going to have to do different things. But to fully rehab it was probably going to cost $300,000. Now, at the same bit, a property that was completely tattered, beaten up, broken, it was the same amount of square footage, was about $500,000 that we could acquire it for. The $1 million property looked 1,000,000 times better, right, as an investment than the $500,000 property. But the $500,000 property with a $400,000 rehab can be the exact same house as the $1 million property with a $300,000 investment. So I'd rather be in for the $900,000 than the $1.3 million. And I'm sure you guys can all agree on that. And so that's where the due diligence is so huge. Now, with our acquisitions, we talk about the massive marketing budget, the ability to just find deals in a marketplace where people say there are no deals. In 2020, when other companies got scared and started to run with their tails between the legs, right, we got robust. We got stronger. I listened to Dana White from the UFC say, hey, when other sports teams are falling apart or hiding or not even having games, he goes, I'm going to run all over you and I'm going to go and succeed. I believe we live in a world of adapt or die. You either adapt and you go and succeed, or your business is going to fail, right? Or your investments are going to fail. And so we adapted on the type of acquisitions, the type of deals we were doing. We adapted on the portion of the market we were investing into, right? And people are like, well, how did you adapt? Well, we focused a lot in low-income housing prior to the 2020 crash. What happened during the 2020 crash is we realized because of eviction moratoriums, foreclosure moratoriums, because of government assistance and because of the things that were out there, that wasn't going to be a great market for investors in the short term. And so we started going more to our middle class, to our upper middle class properties, and we started finding great and incredible margins there. Right now, we're also looking at middle class to luxury homes because of the abundance of inflation. Look, during inflation, you have to change strategies. If we were doing the same strategy as the 2020 recession, we would not be succeeding in the 2021 massive rapid inflation we're going through as an economy, as a marketplace. And so these shifting strategies are really important as you continue to grow. And so we use our marketing budget to acquire deals, to bring in deal flow. And so when other people are forced to do this deal or forced to that deal, we're never forced to do a deal. We're never forced into a negative negotiation position because we always have an abundance of deal flow. When you look at 100 deals, it's easy to choose the 10 that you want to invest in. If you only look at 10 deals, it's very hard to choose the 9 that you want to invest in because you just don't have the abundance to choose from. You can't get to the cream of the crop when you don't have a crop. And so that's where the marketing budget is so right. We buy right, we finance the deals. We went through this. We pay for the rehabs on the long-term holds, in-house contractors, flips. I mean, it's all a part of how you make money being an inner circle member, so it's huge, right? Comparison and contrast. I want to fly through the rest of this just because I want to get to the end and be able to answer questions for you. Other real estate students go to a seminar and they learn about doing real estate. Other real estate students go and they get coaching and they get mentoring. And we have, a world-class coach in Eric Wilner, who's been our director of Inner Circle coaching for going on 7 or I think he's actually 8 years now. He's been working on coaching and mentoring our students. Eric is the longest-running real estate syndicated show in America, and he's our Inner Circle coach. He does, weekly calls and works with our Inner Circle members as a coach. World-class coaching, but instead of just being coach and mentor and saying, hey, go and do this deal, go and make money, go and make these offers, right? We make the offers for you, and Eric shows you how. If you want to do it on your own, you can, but he also shows you how to succeed with us and make money with us, which is really amazing. And so that's the difference between learning about it or doing it or having somebody do it with you, right? And so that's a big thing about how our inner circle works, right? When it says, can I ask permission, right? I'm gonna ask permission to say, hey, look, fill out an application with our inner circle, become a part of an already working machine, something that runs every single day, and you get to be inside the system, right? Bottom line is you're going to make money. Bottom line is you're going to succeed in this, right? I have recorded. We send the recordings out. I'm on here saying you are 100% guaranteed when you join our inner circle, right, to make money. You're 100% guaranteed when you're in our inner circle to do deals. You're 100% guaranteed to learn about real estate, but it goes so much further than that, right? We're going to teach you about using solo 401ks and IRAs. We're going to teach you about whole life insurance and being your own bank. We're going to teach you about opportunity zone investing so you can defer your capital gains taxes. We're going to teach you how to utilize the IRS tax code effectively. Not how to cheat or beat the IRS. No, how to use it correctly, right? So that you can overcome an audit, so that you can do what the government has their eyes on and make sure that you're able to stand up to it at the end of the day. There's a difference between someone who pays $500,000 in taxes and someone who pays $250,000 in taxes, right? And the person who pays $250,000 done the correct way, right, will have an extra $250,000 to invest in the future to continue to grow their money, to make their capital work for them. It's a difference between being a multimillionaire, right, or being a millionaire. It's a difference between succeeding and having your money work for you or having the money go to someone else. It's a significant difference. And the person that has $500,000 and doesn't utilize the tax code correctly, right, might end up getting audited and owe the IRS more money because they're not using it correctly, right? Now, this is a part where I say I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't give you financial advice, legal advice, or tax advice. But what I can do is tell you, here's what my experience is. As a man who's been building wealth his entire life, as a team of professionals who work towards building wealth for our company, as a team of professionals who work towards building wealth from our inner circle. But I will say it doesn't just come from the brain of Dutch. It comes from the collective brain of the inner circle. I learned about opportunity zones from Ted Repick. You guys should go watch his podcast with us. Ted Repick's an inner circle member who joined 2 years ago, who sold his company, who said, Dutch, I want to give you the money from the sale of my business, but I'm not doing it unless you open an opportunity zone fund. And so then we opened an opportunity zone fund, right? So that he could defer his capital gains taxes so he didn't have to do 1031 exchanges. And so these are the kind of things that we do by the collective mind. The bottom line is, yeah, Dutch was the initial idea behind the inner circle, but it became so much more than me. It became the students, it became the team, it became the investors, it became our people, it became our market leaders, it became you guys, the members. And so that's just how incredible it is, right? Can't work with everybody, and I mean that and like I love the world and I want to give to the world, right? And I want to see the world succeed, but we only have so much bandwidth. And this is, not built as a takeaway, because we fill up our inner circle every single year with the maximum number of people that can join. And we only have 9 spots available left for this class of inner circle members. If you don't get in these 9 spots, make sure you get your deposit in, right? We take a $5,000 deposit, right, for the waiting list for the inner circle, so that you can be the first ones that join in February, right? And so the deposit applies whether it's for the December group that's coming in right now, or it applies for the February group that will be coming in at that point in time. And so you guys would do that deposit and be able to get that taken care of. Now you hold your place in the waiting line to be a part of the inner circle. And I'm not doing this as that salesman thing, like I'm trying to take something away. It's just the reality that we live in, right? Right now, I know I'm effectively able to handle, take care of, make sure we have the investments for 240 inner circle members, right? And so we allow the new 20 to come in. In February, I believe we'll be ready to handle 260 inner circle members, right? And as it continues to grow and it continues to expand, it's so fascinating. People always used to ask, how many inner circle members? And I used to always wonder, like, well, should I tell everybody how many inner circle members there are? Like, people get worried whether we're going to have enough abundance, or we're going to have enough scale, or we're going to be able to take care of it. I said, I'll continue to add inner circle members as long as I'm capable, right, of servicing them. As long as we're capable of making them money, doing deals, handling transactions, recycling their money, making them the bottom line returns, then we'll continue to add inner circle members. But we do it in waves, and the reason we do it in waves is because it gives us time to make sure each wave of inner circle members come in can be taken care of, and can make sure they're into their deals and they're making money and they're making transactions. If you're a naysayer, if you're a negative person, if you're a person who is a know-it-all, right? I'm not interested. It's about a tribe mentality. It's about a family of investors, right? It takes a lot for me to not want someone in the inner circle. But at the same time, if you know you're one of those 2 categories of people, then just don't do it. For everybody else, right, who has some money to invest, who wants to make that kind of return, then it can be a good fit for you, right? You guys can go to this link here, the icrad.com/now. Just go ahead and fill that link out. You'll jump on the phone with one of our team. We don't even let you just put in the deposit, right? You have to talk to one of our team members. They have to make sure that it makes sense for you. They have to make sure that it makes sense for us, that there's a synergistic feel to it, right? It says only 20 spots available, but I knew 11 of those were gone already as of earlier today. So there's only 9 spots currently available. If you're not one of the 9, as there's a lot of people on this tonight, but there'll be 1,000 people that watch this during the next 2 weeks. If you're not one of the 9, then you'll be able to put down a deposit for the February group. What I would like to see is all of my 2022 deposits done for the whole entire year, because that just is the best way to do business, to be ahead of it, right? What the inner circle gives you, right, is the resources of our 50 plus employees, now 70 plus. Our capital rides with you, right? So the part that people never understand is, with our REIT and inner circle, there's a marriage between the two. They work hand in hand together, right? A REIT gives us this scale and gives us this growth, right, with staff and employees and infrastructure. Our inner circle gives that REIT fuel by bringing in more deals, bringing in more transactions, more ways of doing real estate, more assets, right? A lot of inner circle members send us deals. It's another way that inner circle members have made money with us over the years. It's another way inner circle members have succeeded with us over the years. And so, we're looking at over 1,000 deals per month. We close deals guaranteed with every single inner circle member that joins, right? More support, right? As we go through this, we hired an inner circle coordinator. We have our director of investor relations, which is Gretchen O'Brien. We have just this full team, right? It used to be me when the inner circle started that handled inner circle members. We would go to an auction together. We'd buy a property. I'd put in half the money. They'd put in half the money. And then I'd manage the rehab, and we'd go through that whole process. And they get updated from time to time. I would love to say that I am the greatest updater in the history of mankind, but what they have today, I can't even believe. Like what an inner circle member receives today, I go back and look at Alan and Jan and the others who joined, 7 years ago, and I'm like, I can't even believe you guys joined the inner circle back then when we first started, right? Because there's so many more resources and there's so much more effective way of doing deals today than there was back then. And granted, those guys invested into deals, and Alan, Jan Ron, the ones that are part of the original, 4 Inner Circle members that joined, right, are all millionaires, have either were already millionaires or have become millionaires while being in the Inner Circle, right? A great video for you guys to watch is Alberto, right? Alberto is an Inner Circle member who joined about 2.5 years ago, and he's taken his portfolio from $300,000 in equity or total return to himself to $989,000 in total equity, and he shares that he might be over $1 million now, but he's working on becoming that millionaire, right? And so that's, I think, what everybody wants that joins the Inner Circle is to be a millionaire and to have that, right? Fun, right? When we do our retreats, we get together. We talk about, where's the economy going? What's happening with inflation? What are we going to be doing different during this next year? I bring in some of the best experts in the world to share about different topics and different subjects. For example, the president of the IRA Club is going to come and share with us in February, right? I'm trying to get Taylor Kovar from the Money Couple to come in and share with us. If some of you've seen that podcast we did with him, right? At the next retreat. And I share some really great stuff. My business partner, Amy, who's incredible, shares some really incredible stuff. But the team of people that we have there, plus then we have a lot of fun and we go do fun things. The last Inner Circle retreat we did out at our Idaho farm, which is a part of our American Survivalist project. And, we were able to do some fun things from starting fires to baking bread to, just really getting a full, natural health education, which was pretty cool for our Inner Circle members. And I know we joined to invest and to make money, but if you have money, then what? You live life. And so that's a big part of what we do at these retreats, plus go through all the steps for retirement, all the steps for wealth building, all the steps for building cash flow. And as we continue to grow, you get to be a part of that. We're constantly working for new ways to speed up the velocity of money for all you to cycle, right? But we're also not going to be in a place where we're like, hey, you're going to give us, $100 tomorrow, and 6 months from now, it's going to be worth $1 million, right? If you have $100,000 in total capital to invest, I guarantee you over the years as an Inner Circle member, that money is going to grow and it'll eventually grow into $1 million. I can guarantee that. If people are like, I want to grow really fast, well, you're going to have to invest more money into deals and more money into transactions in order for it to grow really fast. And listen to the other things we'll teach and train you, right? And so that velocity of money is, incredibly important. You guys can go to that icrad.com. There's more slides, but I'm not even going to share more slides. I just want to get to your questions and be able to answer questions and open it up to questions for those of you that are on. I don't know if I have to unmute everybody or not, Mateo, but if you can have either you or Carter do that. Gary Biggs has his hand up, but people can also ask questions in the chat box. There's 26 chats, which is really there, right? So camera's off. I turned my video back on to spare everyone, Paul. Very funny, Paul. And then Brent said it's still showing. Very good. So we're going to keep going through the presentation. Lost audio.
The question I have right here is, what is the benefit of being an Inner Circle member over owning a REIT?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. So one of the questions is, and a lot of you who are investors in the REIT, that's a really good question. Most of our Inner Circle is invested in both the REIT and separately into deals. It's really common, right? There's a great marriage between the two of them. And so someone said, what's the advantage over being an Inner Circle member? Well, one of the advantages of being an Inner Circle member is definitely the percent return on an individual deal, right? Our REIT has made incredible returns, and it'll continue to make incredible returns. And I always have to say, past performance doesn't indicate future performance, and I'm not doing a solicitation of investment capital for the REIT right now. What I am saying is that, our REIT has made 36.7% return in 2020. We're over 30% in 2021, and we're going to continue to make great business decisions, great investments in the REIT. An individual Inner Circle deal, right, might make 50, 60, 70% on an individual deal, on a singular deal, right? And so that's where the advantage to the Inner Circle member is those individual deals. The way we're using leverage, the way we're using rehabbers, the way we're using them to pay for our rehabs and those kind of things is just cause the returns to skyrocket and go so high, right? The other advantage is just being a part of the tribe, being a part of the community, understanding wealth, understanding taxation, understanding all of the different tools that you can utilize to continue to make money, right? When someone told me I can defer capital gains, for 10 years or 5 years, or they told me I can, not have to pay taxes the first time I learned about an IRA, right? They told me about whole life insurance for the first time and being my own bank, right? Those things were mind-blowing to me, And now they're just an everyday part of life a decade later. But for all of you, these are the things that helped me become a multimillionaire, helped me build a $100 million portfolio hand in hand with our investors and our students. And they'll be there to help you each step of the way as well. So it's an intimacy of relationship. It's a percent return on an individual deal. And, the only downfall is there is more risk investing into an individual deal versus the REIT, which is there's a scale of all the deals, right? And so if something goes wrong in one deal in the REIT, there's little to no effect on you as an individual. But I think, we overcame that in the inner circle is I've never had an inner circle member into a deal where something went wrong, where we didn't make them an offer to buy them out of the deal so they could move into the next deal. And I will say 1 out of 10 deals is going to be hairy. 1 out of 10 deals is going to be scary, right? Something's going to be different than what was expected. The county could get into a never-ending permitting process. There's other things that can go on, and 9 out of 10 are going to succeed and make great money. But that 1 out of 10, we buy the inner circle member out so they can move into another deal and the next deal. And for us, it's just a time lag, and that's okay. But for you to lose a year or 2 years, which is usually what happens when something's really hairy in real estate, that would suck. And so that's why we eliminated that as a problem for all of you. You guys can unmute yourselves to ask questions as well. Just try to be polite as you go through it. But if you see other questions in the chat box, just let me know.
So who determines when to sell specific property after purchase and rented? And then also is each investment singular or a joint investment?
So first question was, who chooses to sell the property at the end of the deal, right? Do we choose to hold it long run? Do we choose to, rent it? Do we choose to flip it, to sell it, right? And so who makes that choice? Well, typically when we share the deals with you from the beginning, we do a PowerPoint, right? And that PowerPoint goes through the details of the deal. It'll say, what we're buying it for, what the rehab is, how much the loan is, what's the percentage of down payment that we're making on the property, what the potential selling price of the property was. And sometimes we'll do like 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, what we think the potential selling price of the property is. We'll tell you what we believe the potential rents on the property are, and we'll say what we believe the most likely scenario, right, for a property is at the end of the rehab. And so we'll say it's a quick flip, a slow flip. We'll say it's a long-term hold. We'll say it's a short-term hold. So a short-term hold might be a 1 to 3 years. A long-term hold might be 10 years plus. And so as we put those properties out there for our inner circle members to invest into, we give you a list of where we believe this property is. And so you'll be investing in properties, that fit your criteria or that fit, what you're looking to do as an investor. Because every single month we're buying properties we flip. Every single month we're buying properties that we're going to hold long term. Every single month we're cycling our money and going into more deals, right? It used to be about once every 2 months to 3 months we'd have new deals for our inner circle members to invest into, and that was fairly common. Right now, where we've gotten to is about every 2 weeks we have a new set of deals for our inner circle members to invest into, and that's just insane when I think about the acceleration and how fast we've gotten to this amazing place where people can, look at a new set of deals about every 2 weeks. And, I never have inner circle members sitting on money where they're like, oh, Dutch, I have all this money and I just wish I had a deal to invest into, or I just wish I had, another transaction to do. That doesn't happen. What happens is people tell us, here's how much I want to invest, and we make sure that we match your criteria, and we find, deals that hit it out of the park. It's what we do. That's why we're professionals, the best of the best at what we do. The next question was, in an individual real estate deal, right? Is it an individual singular person investing into it, right? Is it a whole person investing into it? How does it work? And so typically our inner circle members will put in 50% of the money into a deal, and then we'll put in ourselves, myself and Amy, either through one of our private equity funds or through the REIT, will buy the other 50% of the property. There's a couple different ways that partnership, is created. If we're ever putting multiple people into a deal, for example, like with our income producing farms, right? Sometimes those are $3 million, $6 million, $10 million deals. And so we might do a private placement on those, or there might be other ways that we structure those deals where there might be more individuals who go into those individual real estate deals. But our typical inner circle member deal is 50% of a deal for an inner circle member, 50% from us. Sometimes it's 25, sometimes it's 33%. It just depends on, where the inner circle member's at and where their capital is too. Yeah, Steven and Marcella are both asking minimum investment amount, right? It's $50,000 to join the Inner Circle, to be a member of the club. I will typically say to Inner Circle members, if you don't have a total of $100,000 in total capital, it's probably not a great fit for you right now. Now, I would still say do the icrad.com, talk to one of our team members, because we have different mentoring, different coaching programs, some different things that people, kind of can stair step your way up to being an Inner Circle member. Maybe the REIT's a good fit for you right now, right? I'm not soliciting money today for the REIT. This is purely an Inner Circle, right, call. I have to clarify certain things due to regulations, when I do these calls every time. But so that would typically, when I know that someone has that kind of capital and to invest, I know that we can go play the game and perform for them the way they want us to. And people are like, well, that's a lot of money, right, for you to have people come in. I said, well, the Inner Circle members not for everybody. It's for people who want to have their money working, who have the money to be able to do deals and be able to move forward. Next person.
Lots of people, Howard mentions that like a lot of people have made money in real estate. What are your plans if real estate collapses on 2000?
Yeah, so it's very interesting, right? So we've been studying this for a long time. So I started doing real estate in 2006, 2005. And so what I found over the years is that strategies shift based on the marketplace. And so like in 2005, I did very different real estate than I was doing in 2007, which was a lot of short sales and a lot of commercial short sales. And then it shifted in 2008. We went almost exclusively to commercial short sales, to commercial transactions, 09, 10, 11, right? 2012, we shifted more into tax liens and tax deeds. 2013, 2014, we continued in that business, right? And so what you find is, and then in 2019, I felt like there was a market crash coming. I felt like there was a real estate crash coming, right? And so we began shifting strategies. And then in 2020, we kind of had the same strategies we had in 07. In 2021, we had a lot of the same strategies that we had in 2009, 2010, 2011, right? And so your strategy has to shift with the marketplace. Now, we believe, right, that a market, correction will eventually come if inflation slows down. But as long as inflation still begins to ride the way it's riding right now, real estate prices are going to continue to skyrocket and continue to go up. Look, the dollar's not backed by the gold anymore. And so by it not being backed by the gold by for almost 50 years, most currencies go through strong instability because of that. Now, you have a crypto world that is creating a lot of nuances, right, from a currency standpoint. And so you're going to see a 20%, decline in the value of the dollar, my belief is, in the next 12 months. And so you have to have assets, right, that are going to go up, right, and match that from a counterbalance standpoint. If you have $500,000 in the bank and the dollar loses 20% in value, it means you're going to lose $100,000 simply by keeping your money just in a savings account next year, right? That's what inflation does to you. And so what we, know and what we want to be prepared to do is be an auction machine, right? Prepare for as the foreclosure moratorium lifts and as the auctions come about, right, that we're ready to buy and we're ready to turn and we're ready to continue to cycle our money, continue to cycle properties. And so, I've been through every cycle of real estate that exists, between 2005 and today. And so, we're very prepared to make sure that we're very cash heavy. We're very prepared to purchase. We're very prepared to turn and cycle our money and turn and cycle into deals. But I think we're in a pretty magical window right now, right? The next 2 to 3 years, we're in this window of inflation where, I can buy a property for $200,000. I can put $100,000 into rehab. And if that was all done day one of the purchase, the property might be worth $350,000. But 6 months, 12 months later, that property is going to be worth $400,000. It's going to be worth $420,000 because of the way inflation is. And so by that rapid growth, we're just making numbers on an individual real estate deal, that we've never seen before. And you can be scared and you can wait for the market crash to come in, but the market's always crashing. How many times have we seen, last Friday, the Dow dropped 200 points, right? If you're not aware of what's constantly going on and you're not constantly cycling your money and turning your money over, you're going to be in a dangerous place. Now, if we're in a situation, right, where there is, a 30% reduction in real estate values and that happens, then we're going to have to maybe be a little bit patient with some of our holds or some of our longer term deals. But with our quick flips or our fast turning business, it never stops. We just buy the next cycle of properties and we buy them a lot cheaper than we bought them a month before. And then we continue to cycle and we continue to grow. And so real estate can be made money in every single form of the marketplace, but it is the tools and the techniques you use. I remember back in 05, people all said, this is the only only way to buy real estate. And then 2008, people said, this is the only way to buy real estate. And then 2010 to 2012, people said, this is the only way to buy real estate, right? And then from 2014 to 2019, people say, this is the only way to buy real estate. And then in 2020, we heard that. And then 2021, we heard that, right? And the reality is you have to shift strategies. And if you don't have a full tool belt to do real estate, you will get hurt as the market shifts or the market changes. If you're not able to adapt and overcome, you're never going to succeed. Look, in 2020, when the pandemic hit like a sledgehammer, real estate slowed down. People forget that. Pricing slowed down for a while. People forget that. When other REITs froze withdrawals, when other REITs, did no new investments, right? We invested more, right? We honored the few withdrawals, we had during that period of time, and we grew and succeeded, right? It's just about the ability to understand real estate and understand the game at its fullest level. And having been through every cycle, that's what we do. I'm excited for change because every time there's a change in the marketplace, it opens a gap for profit. And so we look for those, and we're pre-researching them. We have economists that we hire and we consult. We have experts in different asset classes, whether it's farming or apartments or self-storage. We have experts in banking that we're constantly consulting. And so, it's a part of being, at a high level in this game and understanding how each aspect of the game plays. Next question.
You have a couple people still talking about the 50K. So is it just 50K to get in, or is that the initial, or is that towards the deal? People are just
Yeah. And so I would just say, fill out the application, jump on the phone with the team, right? The 50K for becoming a part of the membership, right? Some of it goes into an investment with us. Some of it goes into joining the club, right? And so just be on the phone with the team. They'll walk you through. They'll talk you through that part of it, right? And like I said before, I believe if somebody doesn't have a total of 100K to invest, then the inner circle is probably not the right fit for you. Maybe somewhere down the road or somewhere in the future it will be, but it's probably not the right fit. Yeah, so I shared this before. James asked, are deals readily available, or we have to wait weeks or months? And so what I've seen, we have to get you your own mic, Mateo, when you're doing this, right? And so you'll typically, have to wait about 2 weeks that we cycle deals. About every 2 weeks, we have a new cycle of deals that come through, sometimes 1 week, sometimes 3 weeks, just depends on the deal flow and how quickly we're acquiring them, right? When I first started the Inner Circle, people would have to wait anywhere from 6 weeks to 3 months for deals. But our market cycles are faster, our deal flow is faster, and the way we bring in deals is faster. So usually every about 2 to 3 weeks, we have a new cycle of deals that come out. I will caveat that with during Thanksgiving or during Christmas, there's usually an extra week of lag in there. But yeah, usually about every 2 weeks that we bring out a new cycle of deals. Yeah, you can. Let me go ahead and answer the one question he just asked. Is that you, Karen, that asked that, I think? Yeah, I'll go ahead and answer that one, and then you can ask away, okay? He asked, are we staying away from commercial strip centers, and we staying away from office space and those kind of things? So I am staying away from strip centers and I am staying away from office space. But what I will say is that I am planning for 3 to 5 years from now. I think it's going to happen maybe as little as about 2.5 years. Office space is going to crash. And it's going to crash big time because you have all of these virtual workers around the country that are working from home now. Healthcare companies that had 1,000 employees working from office space that are now have 100 employees working from office space. And they still have the same number of employees. They're just working from home. And so we're working on conversion models on how do we create virtual pods? How do we create gaming centers? How do we convert office space into really productive real estate investment in order to take it to another level? Now, if we figure out a great system for that, we'll begin testing that, right? But if we don't figure out a great system, we'll continue to stay away from office space. But Karen, go ahead. It is all yours. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so like for example, when we do we're running a property, like let's say a rental property, right? There's an 8% property management fee, right? So in that situation, you pay 4% of that and we pay 4% of that. if we make $100,000 on a real estate deal, right? We pay $4,000 to the management company, and you guys pay $4,000 to the management company. So typically, you'll pay about 4% management fee on an individual deal basis. Yeah, and it's only based off of profits or rents. Yeah. It does not make you automatically part of the survival project. But the survival project is its own separate business deal, own separate investment. And with those kind of great questions, I would just fill out the icrad.com/now, jump on the phone with one of our team and just kind of talk to them about the survival project. But the survival is a business, right? That we run. What we found was, and we're going a little bit beyond Inner Circle, but we found the marriage between our farmland investing and then our Survivalist project business, right? When we married those together, it kind of made our profits skyrocket, right? And so anytime we invest in something and we realize it's a good business that we're running and making money, we also offer that out or open that up to our Inner Circle. So we had about 25 Inner Circle members join us in our survival project, right, as co-owners in that business. And so that is something that you can discuss with the team when you jump on the phone with them. It's kind of interesting. Survival is, you're either in it or not. You're either into it, you love it, you live it, right? Like me, we have 3 refrigerators. I have 6 months food supplies. I have my own, firearms and my own safes, and I'm not nearly right as far down the road as some of my Inner Circle members who are probably even more qualified to run the American Survivalist Project than I am, right? I actually have members of my team that are more qualified to run. For sure, Dusty, right? Warren is more qualified to run it more than I am. My Inner Circle member, Kevin Mantell, is more qualified to run it than I am, right? That they just live that survival life. I believe in insurance. I believe in that protection for me and my family. And when the pandemic hit, I said, hey, I need a plan B for me and my family. I don't know if California is a place I want to be. It's why I no longer live in California. I live in Florida, right? I have my Florida, driver's license and my Florida home. And it's just something I had to make a decision to go and do, right? It's why the next American Survivalist Project property that we're looking at buying is in Georgia, because it's right across the border and not too far away from where I want to be. And it's just, you're either in it or not when it comes to survival. More questions, Karen, or should we go on to someone else? So for us, the training and the education side of it are like the bonus, right? The bonus side of it. The mentorship when it comes to, teaching you how to do real estate, or the mentorship when it comes to the retirement or the wealth or the tax, right, utilization, and those kind of things. We believe like we're all in this together and we're on a continuous journey of wealth. And so as there's the foundation of building wealth that I think is important, but then there's also the new things that come about, right? Like for example, when Biden, considered passing an executive order that was going to affect IRAs, right? And just remember, everyone, I'm not being political, right? I have a non-traded REIT so that neither Trump nor Biden can affect my stock price. Neither one of them can, right? And so what I am going to say is that when he was going to change the way IRAs could do investing, right? That would have affected every, single one of my Inner Circle members, because guarantee my inner circle members need to have IRAs or they need to have 401ks for their retirement investing, right? And so our REIT, right, is a security for investing, but an individual deal or some of the other things that they were talking about weren't going to be allowed, right, within their IRAs. And so, we were going a deep dive into that. And as a group, we needed to understand that inside and out as the market changes, as inflation changes, we have to understand it in and out. And so that education side is the bonus on top of the doing deals together every single day. So Greg, questions? For some reason, I feel like Greg Watt has got questions. Yeah, so Lonnie asked, when does a new set of deals come out, right, as a new Inner Circle member? So typically how I handle brand new Inner Circle members, right, is they'll get a call from one of our team. They'll schedule a call with me. I'll go through an intro orientation with them, right? And I'm just going to get to know you and get to understand, where you're at. How much money do you have to invest? What kind of properties do you want to invest? What kind of deals do you want to do? Do you have a market, preference, whether it's, East Coast, West Coast, South, right? What is your preference? Then what we're going to do is I'm going to say, hey, well, here's probably best 2 deals available based on your preferences. Which one do you want to do? And typically that happens within the first week, the first 2 weeks of a new Inner Circle member joining. 2 weeks after you join will become the first set of deals that'll go out to the entire Inner Circle. And usually those go to a first come, first serve basis. Now I'm going to caveat this and say, look, there's always a home run in those that people will see, right? Everybody will start to recognize, hey, this deal's a little bit better than the rest. And I always caveat my Inner Circle members to say, don't worry about that deal. Because what happens is that deal usually has more headaches than the everyday deal that we're doing every single day, which is making great money and making good money. And so but every single time we have a good chunk of Inner Circle members who want that one deal, but every single time they go back to, I should have listened to you and just done the deal that made really good money and looked really good and not necessarily just the one-off home run, right? But what we typically will do is when a new Inner Circle member joins, we'll hold your hand and kind of custom pick a deal based on, your needs and your criteria, and we'll work to get you into your first deal within that first month. Typically, it's usually within the first week to 2 weeks. Yeah. So do we have multifamily properties as well? Yes, when multifamily makes sense, right? And so what I will say is the market changes or things shift, right? There will be a time when commercial short sales are going to come back, right? And so we'll be buying at that point, doing short sales in the commercial space, and that'll be something people can invest in. I think this year, the largest multifamily I think we've had available to our Inner Circle member is, I want to say a 9-unit, right, that we had available. And typically, we're always open to larger projects and larger types of deals, but it's not where the best income and the best money is. When 5 caps are kind of what you're seeing retail when it comes to multifamily, I mean, I can't get out of bed every single day to make a 5% return, right? That would drive me absolute mad. But, if we see, a great multifamily deal and we can make an incredible return on it, an incredible upside on it, and with using our leverage and everything else, then obviously we'll invest into it. But right now, kind of the core of the Inner Circle, I'd say about 70% of it, I would say, is single family homes. I'd say there's about 20%, which I would say are oddballs. I mean, everything from a funeral home to a daycare. All kinds of different things that have been out there. A small percentage of it into multifamily, and then the rest of it all goes into our income-producing farms. So does our group help with 1031 exchanges? Yes, our group helps with 1031 exchanges. We have an opportunity zone fund that people can invest into. I can solicit for the opportunity zone fund on this call, and I can share about it. So what an opportunity zone fund is, you invest in certain geographic territories in America where you can defer your capital gains taxes for 5 years. And if you leave the money in that fund for 10 years, you don't have to pay, right, on the gains that you make while the money is in that opportunity zone fund. So you can do that instead of a 1031 exchange. Or we do help our Inner Circle members with 1031 exchanges, and we have a bunch of Inner Circle members who've done 1031 exchanges over the years with us, and it's something we're very used to and is pretty normal for us. Can we join the IC as a business, not as an individual? I would recommend pretty much all of my investors to join as a business. If you don't have the business already set up, you can join as an individual, and we can buy your properties or shift the names of in your joint venture contracts over to businesses as you get your business set up. One of our team members can kind of walk you through or hold your hand as you go through that. are all deals from tax liens and deeds. So I would say from 2015 to 2019, I'd say 90% of our properties were all tax and liens. When the pandemic hit in 2020, there was not auctions for a year plus. And so we shifted from a hardcore auction strategy to a hardcore off-market real estate marketing strategy. And so we went from a zero marketing budget to $150,000 a month marketing budget for bringing in deal flow. So at this point, I'd say very few of our deals are tax liens and deeds. Primarily off the market real estate is what we do, or value added real estate. I still believe that tax liens and deeds are going to be incredibly lucrative when the foreclosure moratoriums fully lift and the government starts foreclosing, on properties for people who don't pay their property taxes. Good. So that's the last question in the chat box. If anyone wants to raise their hand, I saw a person with the last name Biggs. I don't remember the first name. I think it was Gary Biggs. Looked like he had a question, but feel free to unmute yourself. Stan, you guys are talking over there a lot, so I bet you got questions. But anybody who wants to ask questions, feel free to. Or Tom, who's got a good drum set, or Zach Hernandez, who's got a good headset on. So, but anybody who wants to ask. Karen does again. So go ahead, Karen. So occasionally we have inner circle members who share their trust with us, right? Or fill out exactly what they want to have, done with a property should something happen to them. And so we're perfectly fine with setting up those types of situations. And if you don't have any of that set up, we have some great referrals we can connect you with that, right? That can help you with that too. Karen, we have, great trust attorneys and great, legal entity attorneys. Yeah. So on a long-term hold, we typically will go ahead and add the investor to the title with us. On a 1031 exchange, obviously, as an investor, you have to be on title, right? You can't do a 1031 unless you're on title. And so in those situations, we add you to title. It's only in the short flips or the anything that's a year or less that we typically just don't add the investor to the title just because it's unnecessary. It just creates extra headache, but it also puts liability from us, onto you as the investor. But anything that we're holding longer, anything that's a 1031 exchange, we just go ahead and add you guys to the title, Karen. Yep. Yeah, and I think it's, a real healthy way to do it because you have a lot of options, right? And so, and I've had some, 1031 inner circle members join who are really in emergency situations with trying to, make sure that they were able to, designate assets and the different things you have to do with that. But we also have the Opportunity Zone Fund, which would mean you don't have to do a 1031 exchange. You can invest in the Opportunity Zone Fund as a different way in investing, and then you don't, have to, you can defer the capital gains for 5 years and not have to pay on the returns, if you leave that money in there for 10 years. So it's just another one of the options. There's lots of options. That's the thing about the inner circle is there's always these options, and we're always exploring like what is new, right? I got an email today about something. And say again. Yes. Good questions. You have questions from Facebook.
How much would 50,000 give me in profits monthly? Any estimate?
So it's an interesting question. So how much would 50,000 give me, right, in profits monthly? So you don't really calculate it on a monthly basis. So what I would say our average inner circle deal right now is making from 60 to 80%. And so if you invest 50 grand, I think an average deal time right now would be 6 to 9 months. I think you could easily make a $30,000 to $40,000 profit from a $50,000 investment with us into an individual deal. Hopefully that kind of gives you a range. If I try to tell you exact, that's impossible in an individual deal basis, but there's kind of a range. I'd say on the low range, 25. I'd say on the high range, as much as 40 grand on an individual deal. So typically any deal above that, any home run, what I would say above that ends up coming with a bunch of extra headaches. And so, I just always caveat that we have those deals that look better than that on paper, but are they really? Usually not. Is that your only question from Facebook, Vince? Okay. That's all the questions from Facebook, all the questions from the chat box. Anybody else want to unmute themselves for a question? Hi, Alkis. I'm good. How are you? Happy after Thanksgiving too. We had a spirited gun control conversation at my house on Thanksgiving, so that was a lot of fun from both sides of the political aisle. So that was fairly fascinating. It is 9:17 on the East Coast. Typically, we don't have any staff on at the East Coast. Let me just look. Adrian was actually on earlier, who's one of our team members that helps with those kind of things. Let me see if Adrian is still on. Or Adrian, if you can unmute yourself. Let me see if she's still on. Let me just check real quick. I'm trying to go through. Okay, you can give him a call. Okay, yeah, so... Yeah. Glad to have you a part of it, brother. Very cool. And other team members that are on that want to say hi to the potential new Inner Circle members that are joining the deposit, feel free to. Otherwise, you guys can unmute to ask more questions. All right. Well, we had a bunch of pre-submitted questions from people that were signing up to join the call tonight. So I'm just going to kind of fly through them. What is RAD Diversified? So RAD Diversified is the parent company to our Inner Circle, which is also our REIT, our real estate investment trust. And so RAD Diversified is a management company that manages the REIT and manages our Inner Circle investments and Inner Circle deals. Is the Inner Circle separate from the REIT? I think everybody kind of understands that, yes, they're very separate deals, but they're also kind of married and they work hand in hand together. I joined RAD Diversified. Does that mean I'm a part of the circle too? No, it does not mean you're automatically a part of the Inner Circle, but we are glad to have you as a part of the REIT and a part of our tribe. Just so you guys kind of understand, I think we're about 2,500 total investors into our REIT. Our Inner Circle members about 200 members, and so there's just different things that a business runs and different things a business operates, but those are our two to build our portfolio together. Is there a waiting period to become a member? It depends on when you join the Inner Circle, right? So the waiting period is usually about 3 months. And every 3 months we open the Inner Circle. We don't do it on a standard quarterly basis. And so we do December, February, let's see, then you'd have March, April, May. So then June, and then we do September, and then we do December again, right? So we do 4 times a year. We open up the Inner Circle member for new members to join. And then between those times, people put down deposits to join as the next time we open up the Inner Circle. We only allow 20 new members in at a time, just for us to make sure that we can handle the investments, handle the deal flow, handle the requests, right? And every new group of Inner Circle members is different, right? We have Inner Circle members who come in and they're ready to do one deal, and we have Inner Circle members that come in and they're ready to do 6 or 7 or 8 deals all at one time. And so, deal flow wise, we just have to be careful and only allowing that 20 new members to come in every 3 months, and that allows us to manage that process really effectively. I think I've already answered how many new Inner Circle members are there, what percentage of investors have withdrawn, and what are the reasons. I'd say out of the 220, current Inner Circle members, I'd say probably over the years, we've probably had 4 or 5, whether we, gave people their money back, that joined the Inner Circle, or somebody requested a refund, right, over the years. And so I'll get into kind of where does that happen, or when does that occur, right? Out of 220, though, I think 4 or 5 is really good. The first one is sometimes when people join, they have like really false expectations of what is going to happen right when they join. And so if I can't meet someone's expectations, then I would rather refund their money and part ways as friends, right? Than not be able to meet their expectations. So I remember, one member joined the inner circle, and, he really felt that we should be able to wholesale real estate deals for him. Right. And so not have to give us money, but join the inner circle and us go and do wholesaling for him. And then he just collect a check. And I just, really explained to him that's not the way the inner circle was ever pitched. That's not what the inner circle is. And I would rather, refund your money and allow you to go work on a wholesaling business, because frankly, for me, wholesaling is just being a real estate agent and without a license. That's my own opinion. Do we wholesale deals from time to time when it makes sense? Yes, but that's not what the inner circle is, right? We're not out here trying to do no money down real estate. We make it as inexpensive as possible to do a deal and to make money, but it does take money to make money in the game that we play, right? And the investments that we do, right? And so that's pretty typical. I think there was one inner circle member that I refunded their money and I bought them out of a deal at a profit where they still made money. That just had really bad expectations for rehab, right? They couldn't understand, in the first 2 weeks why, the rehab hadn't started yet. They couldn't understand why, 6 weeks in, why the rehab wasn't completed yet. And I said, hey, look, rehabbing takes time in America, right? Done correctly, done legally, done correctly. Rehabbing takes time. You have to pull permits. You have to do clean out. You have to get architectural plans. With what happened in Miami, last year, or that was this year, right? What happened in Miami this year with all the people dying, right? You have to have a structural engineer, right? A part of every single project. These are things you have to do on every single rehab, every single construction project, right? I'm not trying to make money then to lose money, right? When we make money, we make money. Now people are always like, well, what are the liabilities? Well, let's understand we're very heavily covered insurance wise. So, if something did happen to a contractor and they, fell off a roof or they, cut a finger off or something crazy, we have a lot of insurance, both protecting them and protecting us as a company, right? We have individual homeowners insurance. We have liability policies, right? These are things that we do to make sure that we're covered in the event of, the worst case scenarios. Is the inner circle available for people living outside of the U.S.? Yes, the inner circle is available for people living outside of the U.S. Actually, 2 of our original 6 inner circle members of the first 6 were both Canadians. Who invested. We have inner circle members from Brazil, Mexico, China. I think we have one from the UK as well. And I'm sure there's ones I'm not even thinking of from foreign countries. I'd say probably out of the 220, I'd probably say 30 or 40 of the inner circle members are from foreign countries as well, which is pretty cool. Mostly Canadian though. I wouldn't say 30, 40 from all over the world. I'd say probably 1 Australian and 5 or 6 from Brazil. For some reason, we get a lot from Brazil, 1 from Chile. But different parts of the world. How this help international investors like me? We kind of have the international investor thing down. Alan Pan's our director of international investment. He's an inner circle member who became and started doing more and more with the company. So we understand how that game works inside and out. What's the most you can invest and what's the least you can invest? Well, I kind of shared with everybody, if you have less than $80,000 to $100,000, it's probably really not worth it to join the inner circle. If you, the most you can invest, right? Let's just take that one step at a time, right? I've had people, say I was going to invest. I'd love to invest $5 million with you guys, Dutch. And I said, that's great. But let's look at that reality, right? If we have an inner circle member who comes and says, I want to do $5 million worth of individual house deals, which is about $20 million of individual house deals, that's going to take a little bit more time than 2 weeks to get all your money invested into deals. But we will get it invested into deals and we will make it happen, because that's over the years with building our portfolio. I'd say our inner circle member, probably about 2.5 million is the most an inner circle member has invested into deals with us. And so that's kind of, the top of the range that I've seen so far. But, over the years, we take it step by step. We have one inner circle member who sold a business who says he's going to have $10 million with us before January 1st. I'll believe it. And in the nicest way, I'll believe it when the money's in, right? And that's what you always say in real estate. You believe it when the money's in. I have zero experience and not much capital. How do you consider one like me? Well, if you have zero experience and not much capital, the inner circle is probably not a good fit for you. It doesn't mean being a part of our tribe or being a part of our REIT, right, or a part of our community is not a good fit for you. And I always say this for the wonderful, incredible people at the SEC. Just said I said being a part of our REIT when our REIT is available to investors is I'm not soliciting capital for this webinar or this training call, right? Like, you guys, can anybody tell that I'm very careful about following regulations and liabilities and all of those kinds of things legally, just because we have to be, right? And I don't say that in a joking way, about the people that are out there that have their jobs to protect investors and make sure that companies like ours are doing things the legal and the right way, right? They have very important jobs because there's plenty of BS out there. There's lots of crappy, stinky, terrible companies out there that, first of all, the no money down real estate education companies, right? I don't even think they should be allowed to be in business. I think it's crap, right? They sell people on a pipe dream that's not reality, and it's a multi-$100 million business. I don't like it. And then there's the scam artist companies that aren't any good either, and they don't go and get the licenses. They don't have the auditors. They don't have the regulators. You can't go look them up on Edgar with the government site. You can't go see the reality. Is this a real company or a fake company? Is this a company that's been in business a long time, right? Our Inner Circle members come in and tour our offices all the time. They come and hang out, and see us, whether it's in Florida or California, right? We have significant offices in both states, but, pretty soon we're going to have a pretty significant office in Philadelphia. Our staff's been growing there so fast that, we're having to open an office there as well. And so, we love when our members come and see us and we talk about their investments and their deals, right? Alberto, who's got a great testimonial video, brings me his notebook, which is the most organized, best notebook I've ever seen since someone joined in the Inner Circle. So I'm actually at the next Inner Circle retreat having him do a training on how he tracks his investments and how his investments have grown and the best way to work with us as a company, right? One of our own members, which is really, really cool. Is there a variability of risk return from one asset to the next, right? I'd say different assets are going to have different risk tolerances with us as a company, right? Over the years. And so we try to give you the best, case scenario, worst case scenario in every single deal. And help you assess the risk, when it comes to deals. And I've always said to my Inner Circle members, like, we go beyond, right? If, I've had Inner Circle members bring me different real estate deals or different business deals they wanted to invest in or were considering investing in over the years. And we've kind of helped them do diligence. One, I was like, man, I really want to invest in that too, and made an investment myself. And many over the years have said, don't touch that with a 10-foot pole because you're going to lose your money. And so those are things, I've always been able to help Inner Circle members through over the years. How fast do we try to get new Inner Circle members into deals? We've already talked about that, 2 weeks to a month. Is there an opportunity to talk one-on-one with someone? Yeah. Anytime you need to talk with one-on-one with someone, there's one of our team that can do it. Are you automatically reinvesting our returns? No, we don't automatically reinvest your returns. So you make money from a deal. If you want to reinvest that into the next deal, we will reinvest that into the next deal. If you want to pull capital out or you want to, utilize your capital for something else, it's your money, right? I've always said that. I've had Inner Circle members from time to time over the years. They're like Dutch, I really want some money to let's say go buy a boat, right? And they call me almost like they feel guilty, and I'm like, it's your money, right? Like we're making money together, but like I want it to keep working. I said, well, then keep it working, make a choice. Right. And so, yeah, but if you want between any individual deal, or if you have an emergency, if you're in the middle of a deal and you have an emergency and you say, hey, Dutch, I have 100,000 invested with you. We have this crazy, insane emergency in our life right now. I mean, COVID's a weird world, right? In a time where like people have emergencies they never would have expected. We always do our best to take care of our Inner Circle members in those kind of situations and to support them and have their back, just like I do my staff and my employees, right? Try to have their back when COVID hit, when some of their families got it, when some of our employees got it, right? Supported them and had their back through it. Someone said, I don't believe 36.7% return. Well, in the REIT, 36.7 is great. In Inner Circle, sometimes we do better than that. And believe it, because we have auditors and balance sheets and P&Ls that we submit to auditors, and it's what we do. Our investors withdraw money, they put money in, they make money. It's what we do. I sometimes look at our own business and I have like the unbelievable mindset, right? Because when I started doing deals, I just wanted to figure out what to do with money. I watched a late night infomercial with Robert Kiyosaki on PBS, right? And I said, what do I do with money? That's how I first started. And then I started consulting because I was a headhunter and I did recruiting, and I started consulting real estate companies. I said, because if I have this fascination in real estate, it might be smart, right, to do headhunting and recruiting in the real estate industry so I can learn more about the real estate industry. And so as I started doing headhunting and consulting real estate companies, I started to learn more about the game. As then I became a full-on real estate business coach, full-on real estate business advice coach, not helping individual students, right, make money in real estate, helping companies, larger organizations make money in real estate. Then I started consulting thought leaders and experts. Then I started consulting students. Then we opened our first fund. Then we opened our second, then our third, and then we opened up our REIT. And along the way, our inner circle created itself, which is pretty amazing. You have another Facebook question? I see you hovering.
This is from Russ. As a Canadian, can you invest in inner circle? How would taxes, capital gains, etc. work if we don't have the 1031 IRA?
Yeah, so as a Canadian, right, I would say that's a very specialized question. And I'll probably have Alan, one of our existing Inner Circle members, who's our Director of International Investment, probably have him jump on the phone with you and kind of walk you through how it works as a Canadian, right? I know how it works for Alan. I know how it works for Jan, but you might have your own situation. You can't do a Q. I think it's called a Q IRA from Canada with us. You can't utilize that. But I also say, our REIT's one of the best vehicles for Canadians to invest in because you're not double taxed like you are on other investments. And so that's a pretty cool tax thing. Another one of the questions I have here, what do you do with depreciation? Anybody who wants to take depreciation from the assets they invest in with us, we help you with that, and our accountants provide you with a form. I can't think of what the name of the form is right now, but you're able to collect your depreciation on your investments with us, which is pretty cool. Do you offer mentoring services listed on the stock exchange? So the Inner Circle, remember, has nothing to do with the stock exchange. If that's more of a REIT question, I would just refer you back to our last REIT call we did where we kind of talk about that subject. If there's more than one member investing in a deal, how are profits dispersed? They're dispersed by percent of ownership. So if you have 20% ownership and someone else has 30%, then you'll make 20%, 30% respectively from the deals. Are you waving at me? I see one of the pictures, Stan and his wife waving at me because they're leaving or because you have a question? All right. Well, everybody, I think that's more than enough. We went 90 minutes, right? Unless somebody wants to unmute and ask a question, I think I hammered through most of the questions that I see on here through here throughout the entire question. The depreciation was actually the last question on my whole list, if you guys can even see that list, and then the other lists of questions. This was a marathon. If you unmute, you can ask one more question. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up and call it a night. But hey, look, go to the icrad.com/now. I know we don't need to sell it, but just to remind you, go to the link, fill out your form, get on the phone with one of the team, join the waiting list. I mean, our Inner Circle, fills up really fast. We've already had 11 new members joined. Out of this group, we only allow 20 total each quarter. And so, look forward to investing with you. Look forward to you being part of the tribe. And, God bless during these crazy, insane times we live in. And look forward to there being with you, those that are new members, every step of the way. If anybody unmutes and asks a question, I'll answer it. Otherwise, you got like 10 seconds and you can forever hold your peace. God bless you. Good night. Good night.
Thank you for listening to the Hard Money Podcast with Dutch Mendenhall. Don't forget to visit our website, economicactivist.com. That's www.economicactivist.com.